Hey trackies, welcome back to another video. Please remember to smash that subscribe button. I did see someone asking, hey, what's going on with the subscriber count? Why is it so low? That's because this is not TXC track time. This is TXC track time news. So check to ensure that you are still subscribed. If not, smash the subscribe button, guys. Welcome over to this new channel. All right, and also hit like and comment as well. Share as well if you do care. So, track is interesting things ahead. We have the first leg for the Diamond League in Xiamen that comes up tomorrow, the 26th of April. And of course, I'm excited and I'm going to give you a preview, a breakdown as it relates to what to look forward to at this particular meeting from a Jamaican perspective, plus also some interesting comments that were made by Shericka Jackson. She comes up in the 200 meters. Now, trackies, this is a huge year for Shericka Jackson. She's a defending champion in the 200 meters from the World Athletics Championships. Actually, she won in 2022, won in 2023. So, really, she wants to three-peat here when it comes to that 200 meters. Unfortunately, in 2024, she did have an injury setback. And it was kind of interesting where a lot of thoughts floating around based on Shericka Jackson and picking up that injury, and many people thought as though she was going too hard. Some people thought that, it was because she was trying to challenge the world record why she got injured. But Shericka Jackson came out and clarified as it relates to, why she may have gotten injured in 2024. I'm going to let you take a listen to what she had to say.
I needed to take a break, and I think last year was really, really hurtful. But mentally and physically, I had coaches, my family, and friends in my circle. So, coach and I sit down and we had a conversation during the Olympics, and I think going home was, I think, the best thing at that moment. But we work on the fine details of getting me healthy, and I took some time to get healthy, and I'm excited.
Clearly she's indicating that her body needed a break, and we kind of get it because that was the thought process for many of the athletes when we did suffer, unfortunately, COVID. The fact that there were no back-to-back championships, and many of these top flight athletes, if you're not top flight, then it probably wouldn't have bothered you. But when you talk about running maximum effort 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and also 2025, at some particular point it's going to take a toll. And we did see quite a number of champions in different events pick up injuries throughout these years, one year or another. So unfortunately for Shericka Jackson, that was her year. Her body needed a break, as she indicated, from just going so hard for so long when it comes to competing. And clearly, no, she's happy to be back and ready, to be competing. Something else that she also said interesting to me that really got my ear perked up was when she spoke about potentially only competing in one event.
I'm definitely not the 400. But as I said, I think we both run some 100 and 200, but I think mostly to focus on the 200 now. And I honestly don't know, but anywhere the season takes me, whether the 100 and 200 are one event, then I'm definitely ready.
Now, this could be taken a multitude of ways based on what Shericka Jackson said. Now, I can tell you the multitude of ways that I'm thinking potentially that Shericka is probably, coming from. Now, one, it could be that, hey, as I said in the beginning of the video, this is a massive year for her. She wants to go out and three-peat. And she also recognizes the fact that the field is much better this year. And she kind of wants to solely focus on one event. That way she can give her maximum effort and potentially defend that 200-meter title, right? Bragging rights are definitely on that one. We see what Julian Alfred is doing. Currently, she has the world lead, 21.81. Of course, the ever-present Gabby Thomas is there. Plus, you never know as well if an Elaine Thompson here decides to toe back the line and gets back anywhere close to her best, she also gets tossed into the conversation. But then also, trackies, interestingly, I did point this out as well earlier on in the season. I did point out and say, hey, you know what? This 100 meters from an MVP perspective is going to be very interesting. We're going to see more than likely a Tia versus Shericka battle. And interestingly, now you're figuring out who will stand on top. And that was my view earlier on. But now, as the season has progressed, we see where Shelly and Fraser Price is potentially making a bid and making a return, which makes that 100 meters in Jamaica much more interesting and much harder to make. Where in light of, potentially even again an Elaine Thompson here potentially returning, that becomes possibly for the hard way. And by for the hard way, I'm making reference to what we are currently, seeing in recent times, right? So someone on the rise, that Tia Clayton is very vividly present. And I did do a video recently speaking on Tia, and I was like, even if some of these athletes are potentially at their best, she could overhaul them for sure in that 100 meters. And the more I watch her this season, the more I get in the vibe that Tia Clayton is going to oust somebody. So if you're saying that, okay, we have a massive big three athletes, we have Shelly and Fraser Price, Elaine Thompson Hera, and a Shericka Jackson, plus now you're going to toss in a younger head. One person, unfortunately, will not be able to make the team, given the fact that, again, we don't have a defending champion in that 100 meters from the World Athletics Championship. So, again, track is Sharika could be like, okay, I'm looking at the landscape of track and field in Jamaica. I may make a bid in the 100 meters. It may not work out. So, if in the event it doesn't work out, let me just make sure that my focus is solely on that 200 meters. That's my baby. That's where I really want to repeat. That's really where I want to dominate and show the world that I'm the absolute best there. So, literally, that is the vibe that I'm getting 100% when, Shericka Jackson is speaking on, where her 2025 season may take her. Plus, also, track is there's the fact that she's also coming back from injury, and she spoke about, her body, being tired, and she probably just wants to slowly, which she did say this as well, she wants to slowly, get into the season, right, and not do too much too quickly. So there's also that aspect as well, where after coming back from injury, she's not trying to dive into doing, maybe a double right off the bat. Maybe we'll see that back in 2027 and beyond. But for now, let me just focus on one event. It could be that as well. But track is, as I said, interesting times ahead when it comes to Shericka, and whatever decision she will be making, going forward as it relates to her competitions, whether it be one event or two. Right now, let's dive into the actual lineup from the 200 meters from this Xiamen Diamond League. Now we have from China Chen Yuji and Li Yuting, from Great Britain Amy Hunt, from America Jenna Prandini, from Switzerland Mujinka Kambunji, from Jamaica Shericka Jackson, from the United States of America Neva Battle, from the Ivory Coast Jessica Bai, and from the USA Tanisha Twerry. I think this is a pretty good race to start Shericka off pretty slowly into the season. Not much pressure that she will be facing in this race. None of these athletes so far, have broken 23 seconds for the ones that have opened their season. For the others, they pretty much haven't ran that 200 meters all season. So I think it's a pretty good race for, Shericka Jackson to ease herself back into competitive competition. Now, when I cross-reference, what she's done in previous years to what I may be expecting in this race, in 2021, where she was pretty much just taking up, the shorter sprints really seriously for the first time, she did open it up in February and run like a 22.7. But by May, which is close to this April date, and that's the closest date, to the April date, she was running 22 mids, a 22.6, right? So that's what she was running at the beginning of her season outdoors, you would say, in May. But by the end of the season, her personal best was at 21.81. Then in 2022, she was focusing mainly on the 60s and the 100. And by May 13th, she was running at 22.07, right? And at the end of that season, we all know she went mad ridiculous on that 200 meters, 21.41, and then took it up a notch in 2023. At the beginning of the season, only focused mainly on 100s. By May 28th, she was already opening up her season sub 22, 21.9. And of course, she capped her season off with that personal best, 21.41 seconds. Now for 2024, she, started off clearly not in the best shape. and opened up her season May again 22.8, but by the end of the season around June, unfortunately picked up an injury, right? So that's pretty much how she has progressed each year. And going off that track, is it's really hard to track a Shericka Jackson when it comes to the short sprints, because she hasn't really been doing it for long. But I would say, given the fact that she's a 21.41 second athlete coming off an injury, I'm going to give her an easy 22 mid, maybe a 22.5, 22.6 to open her season for the 200 meters. That's what I would say roughly. But it's the first one, guys, and literally there's no pressure on her to really be going quickly too soon, because she has a bye into the world championship. So she doesn't need to qualify. She doesn't need to be running super fast, super early. She just needs to make sure that when she, arrives at the world championship, she's peaked and ready to go to defend her title. So I don't really have much expectations, though I'm saying, 22 mids. It could be less, it could be more. Let's see where she starts, and then we can go, definitely from there. Now, we also have other Jamaicans competing as well. We have Danielle Williams, two-time world champion, that comes up in the 100-meter hurdles. Now, the 100-meter hurdles is always ram-packed, so she will go up against Marianne Fori from South Africa, Nia Ali from the United States of America, Pia Strzajewska from Poland, Grace Stark from the United States of America, Devian Charlton from Bahamas, Toby Amusan, the world record holder from Nigeria, Tonya Marshall from the USA, Wu Yani from China, and Liz Clay from Australia. Now, again, it's pretty early. Most of the athletes haven't opened up their season. So far, though, Grace Stark is the fastest athlete in this field with a 12.51 seconds season's best. And actually, she is the world leader in this event. Um, mm, Again, when it comes to the hurdles, it can literally go any direction. Toby so far hasn't opened up her season. She's the world record holder. Devin Charlton, indoor world record holder, hasn't opened up her season outdoors as well. So there's really and truly not much to go off. Danielle Williams has already clocked a 12.70. She did that at the Grand Slam Track League a few weeks back. So given everything that I'm looking at so far, I'll probably say Danielle Williams is in good position to finish top three if she's able to build on what she's already laid down, the foundation that she's already laid down in the women's 100-meter hurdles. But again, not because some of these athletes have not opened up means that they're not in great shape, because they can come out and bang out something ridiculous as well, in their first race. Hurdlers seem to always be ready, regardless of the time of the year that they're competing, with. So with that being said, let's see how this race goes. I have Grace Stark as well, potentially, being in top three. As I said, hopefully we can get Danielle Williams up into that top three as well in this competition. Now, moving on from there, we have the men's 100 meters, where we have Rohan Watson repping from a Jamaican perspective. He's up against Abdul Sani Hakeem Brown. I think I said his name backwards, but he represents Japan. From Kenya, we have Ferdinand Omanyala. From the United States of America, we have Christian Coleman. From South Africa, Akani Simbine. From Botswana, Letsile Toboho. From Great Britain, Jeremiah Azu. From Cameroon, Emmanuel Asime. From China, Xi Zhengyi, and from Australia, Lachlan Kennedy. Right. So, based on the seasons, when we talk about, from a South African perspective or an African perspective, and also an Australian perspective, their seasons tend to get on, sooner than everybody else. Everybody else tends to, warm up later on in the season. So I'm definitely expecting, the Africans, Akani Simbine, Letsile Tobogo, to be a bit more ready, and also the Australian Lachlan Kennedy as well. I'm definitely expecting him to, feature as well heavily in this particular race. When it comes to the Jamaican Rohan Watson, my expectation, not much, because he's an athlete that hasn't really shown me yet on the circuit that he's able to travel. So that's really what I'm looking out for. I watched him at the World Indoor Championships. He's seemingly gotten better at traveling. I'm hoping that that carries on to outdoors now in these competitions. So let's see. This will be his first 100 meters. Well, no, it's not his first 100 meters. Second 100 meters for this season, right? So let's see what he's able to drop down here. Who wins? Definitely having Akane Simbine walking away with the win here. He so far is the world leader, 9.90 seconds. I'm expecting him to come out really good in this race. It's interesting when I track his history in my mind. I remember, Akane Simbine from way back when Usain Bolt was competing. He really had a strong start and a poor finish. And then somehow throughout the years, he worked on his finish, but his start got poor. And now we're in 2025, and track is it looks as though Akane Simbini has managed to perfect his craft now, where his start seemingly has now gotten good again, and his end of the race is no good. So he's one to look out for in 2025. I'm saying this now. Look out for Akane Simbini. He's definitely going to be a tough one to beat, for sure. I'm excited for him. In these latter years where maybe he would have thought, okay, it's time to hang it up, is where he's literally, seeing the successes. For Let's See Little Boho, he hasn't really done anything major in that 100 meters so far. So far, he's clocked at 10.55 seconds. So, for this particular race, I definitely expect him to step that up a notch quite a bit and be in the conversation when it comes to competing. I'm probably going to clock him someplace around 30ish because I am eyeing the Australian Lachlan Kennedy, though he's not the fastest with a personal best of 10.00 seconds. This early in the season is where you'll see athletes like this feature in races where they will come in and place high, but as the season progresses, then you'll see them fall out of contention. So I'm definitely expecting to see him up there as well. So when it comes to Christian Coleman, I have to do a video separate on Christian Coleman, and yes, I'm going to reserve my thoughts for then. Let's see what he's able to pull off in this particular video, as well as Ferdinand Omaniala. I can't believe I didn't mention him. Sorry about that. He slipped me. Right, so Ferdinand Omaniala is also in the conversation. So in my top four, I'm gonna have Akane one. And then when it comes to the rest of the athletes, it can go either way between, Lachlan Kennedy, Ferdinand Amaniala, Christian Coleman, and of course, Let's See It to Boho. And I'm hoping some way, somehow, that Rohan Watson is also in that conversation as well. There are 10 lanes on this track, so many athletes are competing. Now, jumping over from the men's 100 meters, going to go into the men's long jump, where we have two representatives. We have Wayne Pinnock and Tajay Gale. So far in the season, Wayne is at a 8.29 meters. That was done indoors. And of course, Tajay Gale has jumped at 8.34. That was done outdoors. Now, literally, given the competition, I definitely believe Jamaica can place 1-2 in this competition. However, what I will say is that Tajay Gill is not as consistent as Wayne Pinnock. So I do believe Wayne Pinnock is heading to his potential first Diamond League win, right? And Tajay Gill, if he jumps well, can be, in the conversation as well. But he may not jump well and then he may find himself down the field. So it all depends on the version of Tajay Gill that we get. But definitely look out for athletes such as Liam Adok from Australia, and also as well Zhang Mingkun from China. Those athletes you have to definitely keep an eye on when it comes to them featuring in this competition based on their season's best, at least. From a personal best perspective, different conversation, but season's best, we may see those athletes feature. As I said, as the season progresses, we may see something different when the major forces really get into the full swing of 2025. The final event that I want to touch on is the men's 110-meter hurdles, where we have Hanzo Parchment opening up his season in the men's 110-meter hurdles. So far, again, he hasn't run, so not much expectations. Hanzo Parchment tends to start slow in his season, so let's see what happens in this particular race, and of course, we can go from there. But to join him in this race from China is Lu Jingji. From America, Cardell Tinge. From Japan, Rashid Mortaki. From Spain, Enrique Lopez. From America, Daniel Roberts. From America, Grant Holloway. And also from America, Freddie Kurtenden. From China, we have Zhu Yi. And from Japan, we have Shunusuke Izumiya, right? So those are the athletes that line up. Also, the hurdles for the men's version definitely always stacked as well. I definitely have Grant Holloway going away with the win. He's already, ran a 13.16 seconds, already the fastest in this field so far. And he rarely ever messes up from a technical perspective. He'll literally have to fall, for people to beat him or, just execute terribly to lose a race, right? So he goes away with the win. Let's see where Hanzo Parchment will figure. Again, he hasn't opened up, and typically he's a slow starter. So let's see what happens for Hansel. Now, guys, of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like, of course, smash to subscribe and comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.